Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of SCZ Live. I'm Shanae, and I'm here today with Emma at our bald eagle habitat. Now in just a minute, Emma's going to take the tablet into the bald eagle habitat, and she's going to feed the bald eagle one of her favorite foods. Now Emma, you just told me what that is, and I'm going to show it down here for our folks. We can see that meat patty, but that's not her favorite, is it?
No, the rat is typically her favorite. She gets a rotational diet, so every day she's getting something different, but normally rats are one of her absolute favorites. She normally comes down, so I'm really hoping you guys get to see her come down and eat the rat, and we'll kind of talk about it as it happens once I feed her. She's looking at me right now like it's taking so
She's
long.
ready. All right,
She's
I'm gonna hand the tablet over here to Emma. Sorry, the tablet's being finicky today. For some reason it wants to be held this way.
All right. So we'll grab our food and head on in. Sorry for those who are motion sick. So like Shanae said, we do have a rat, and then we have what we call a bird of prey ball, which is essentially a glorified meatball. That isn't one of her favorites, but she does still eat it. But the rat, or any critter that she gets, is typically one of her favorites. So I'm going to step out here, and you can see she's up at the top there. So we'll see if she comes down.
So she's up there waiting for us. We have a whole audience. Everybody wave to our Facebook Live, folks. Good job, everybody. It's great to have everybody back here at the zoo. Oh, we're apparently upside down, so let's see. Facebook Live, folks, let us know if that's a little bit better. Thanks, Karina, for letting us know we were upside down.
So a little background on our female bald eagle. This is our female. In the adjacent enclosure, we do have our male. They were housed together, but they no longer are. He had an injury, and then she decided that she wanted to pick on him, so we house them separately now. She is 31 years old. Our male is 30 years old. It's typical in raptors that females are bigger than males, so she typically ranges seasonally between 10 to 12 pounds, and he normally fluctuates between 8 to 10, so not terribly bigger, but big enough. He is 30 and she's 31. That is pretty old for bald eagles. In zoos, it's typical 35 is kind of the top of their age range for what they live, 15 to 25 in the wild.
So they are our senior citizens.
They are. They came to us from San Francisco Zoo. They were part of the repopulation breeding program that they did when bald eagles were part of the Endangered Species Act. They were deemed non-releasable, so that's why we have them now. Both of them are fully flighted. They were deemed non-releasable because they never learned how to hunt, so they could not go out into the wild.
Now, Emma, I know often we get questions about how come we don't breed them here?
To breed them, you have to have a federal permit, and we do not have a permit, so we cannot breed them. It is illegal to own any part of a bald eagle. Everything about bald eagles is owned by the federal government. So even all these feathers you see on the ground, we collect them and then donate them to certified groups.
And I know you mentioned they are a success story in the fact that they're no longer considered an endangered species.
Yes.
But with the Migratory Bird Act,
yes,
bald eagles and almost any other kind of bird here in North America are federally protected.
Yes, there are still about 5 or 6 acts that bald eagles are still protected under, including the Tracy Act. So a bunch of different things that they are still under. They're also our national birds, so they are federally protected.
She's thinking here.
She
We're
is.
going to give her some quiet time and see if she comes down.
Yeah. Maybe if we take a step
Okay,
back, too.
it's like me and a donut. It takes me a little bit of time, but eventually I'll go for it. There a question out there is where do we get the eagles from? And I know, Emma, you just said these particular eagles came from us from California.
Yes.
But we Zoos, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums works with different rehabbers, people who are licensed to care for animals that are native that are injured, and often will house different non-releasable animals so that they can still have that beautiful quality life even if they cannot live in the wild anymore.
Absolutely. And these guys did come from San Francisco Zoo. We got them in 2016, so they lived there for 20 some odd years before they came to us. And we've had them since then, and we absolutely love them. They're a really fun species to work with.
Have to give a shout out to Milo, one of our friends who used to work here with us. Milo, we're so glad that you're out there watching and doing great work in conservation as well.
And I did mention that she gets a rotational diet, that she gets something different every day. So a couple of the other diet items that we offer her are mice, chicks, salmon, trout. These guys are big fish eaters. They hunt over open waters in the wild, but they are also scavengers. So they'll eat pretty much anything they can get their hands on, or their talons, I guess.
That often surprises people that the
does.
bald eagles are scavengers more than they are, say, the golden eagle, which really does not scavenge quite as much.
Yes.
We have somebody asking if they have, if there's any dimorphism in them. Are males and females the same, or do they look slightly different?
They are the same. The only thing that really differs between them is the size difference. And especially where you find bald eagles, the northern species are going to, or the northern birds that you find are going to be a little bit bigger than the southern birds that you find. But females do range between 8 to 12 pounds, whereas males are a little smaller.
And again, our two bald eagles that came to us here from San Francisco Zoo were not injured in the wild, but they were deemed non-releasable because they didn't hunt.
Yes, they did not learn how to hunt on their own, so they could not be released into the wild. So that's why we have them now. A lot of birds that you do see at zoos across the country are rehab birds, or birds that were injured and taken in for treatment and things like that, and then deemed non-releasable. But ours were neither of those. They are both fully flighted. They both have really good eyesight, things like that. They just decided
They'd like us to feed them instead. Yeah. Well, that's not
they
too
prefer.
My kids do the same thing.
Yes.
Now, this is also probably a good point where, while we're trying to give her a few extra moments, to mention that this time of year we have a lot of native birds hatching.
Yes.
And I know often people will see a bird like a young robin who's learning to fly but can't yet, and they get concerned that something's wrong with it.
Yes.
So the best thing, Emma, to do with that is to let mom and dad take care of them, correct?
Absolutely. A lot of times what you find is what we call a fledgling. They have just come out of the nest. They are still quite young. They maybe don't look like a full bird yet. They have like the small feathers and everything, but they are still being taken care of by mom and dad. Even if you don't see them, they are around watching. It's best not to interfere with nature. Mom and dad will take care of it, and it will be okay.
That's right. And you know what? There's it's just part of nature to watch those birds learn how to fly for that first time. Just like when our kids learn to walk the first time, it takes a little bit of practice.
It does. It takes some practice. They don't automatically know what's going on, especially since all they've known is their quaint little nest. So.
Now, we have a friend, Caitlin from Montana, who's watching, who says she sees a lot of bald eagles there.
Yes.
But we see them here in Wichita as well.
We do, especially around big bodies of water. Bald eagles return to where they nested the year before. So as we're seeing more and more eagles, that means that it's a really good place for them to breed. They're coming back. It's a safe place for them, and around big bodies of water is really where you're going to see them.
And our lakes and stuff have a lot of those nice areas.
Yep.
Well, she's being a little shy. Should we give her some time and maybe go over and see the male and
we can,
then watch front of house? Okay.
We can.
So again, we're gonna walk here as we go. So any of you guys that get motion sickness, just pretend you're on a boat.
Or close your eyes.
Or close your eyes. So we're now what we call front of house. We were just back of house in the keeper area, but now we're going front of house here, closer to where our male is. And again, both animals fully flighted.
Yes. So this is our male. He is a little bit smaller than the female. I mentioned earlier he had an injury a couple years ago that just kind of threw him off balance. So his balance isn't what it was before he had that injury. So a lot of times you'll see him sitting on the ground over here, or just on a lower perch like he is now. A lot of his perches are closer to the ground just so that we prevent further injury if he were to fall off one of those.
And that's just one of those great ways that we can care for
Yes.
them, especially as they get older.
Yes.
And, you know, we've seen a lot of that in the zoo as we've gone around for Facebook Lives, where we're working with a lot of older animals, and the care we give as they age is different than the care we give when they're young.
It is.
We do have a question out there wondering if we ever handle the eagles.
Very rarely. It might be once a year for preventative exams, things like that. We do trim their nails. We do like little exams to make sure that they're in good health, especially as they're getting older. We want to make sure that they're not having any difficulties with things that could be preventable. So nail trims, beak trims, we sometimes get their weights, things like that to make sure that they're in good health.
We had a question of would we ever get the federal permit to breed, and really there's so many eagles that always need homes.
Yes.
That there's not as much need to breed them in human care?
The eagles that can go out into the wild and are releasable do. The ones that stay in zoos, it is sometimes harder to find a home. We are a good housing facility, not a good breeding facility.
There we go.
We don't have the space really to be able to house chicks with mothers. Also, their nests are so large.
So
They're about
big.
10 feet wide and can weigh up to half a ton. So we just don't really have the enclosures to be able to accommodate for that.
So go out and look at your car
Yeah.
and think that's about the size and the weight of an eagle nest. Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty impressive.
It is. They're extremely impressive nests, but because of that, we just can't accommodate for that. So we love them as they are.
Absolutely. Well, they're always beautiful to watch, I know. Let's go over and check out our female one last time as we leave to see if she came down at all.
She is being
She is being shy, isn't she? She's just going to hang out. She's not going to have anything to do with us today. But this is a great time to remember, when you're out and about, you should always remember to stay one bald eagle away from the next closest person, unless they're already in your family or social distancing group. Well, there she is.
She's come down a little, but not all the way.
No, she's going to wait until we're all done here, which is a lot of fun. And that's one of the great things about doing Facebook Live, is we just never know what's going to happen.
Never know.
So I love it that she's on her own terms and doing it on her own time.
We do feed them every day in the afternoon, so if you're in the area,
Good
come
to
on
know.
by, you might catch a meeting.
All right. Well, we're going to switch back over here. Emma, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today on SCZ Live. Do watch our website, folks, because we're planning a lot of exciting new opportunities for you to participate in the zoo in your smaller groups that are already social distancing. One of the things, for example, we're looking at is actually an evening tour through the North America prairie with just your friends or family or close units that aren't social distancing. So we have lots of fun opportunities, and hopefully you'll see those up on our website in just the next week. So keep an eye out on them. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember, we're open and we're still caring just as much. Thanks.